Alright, you are welcome to Football Mania once again. Well, today we are going to talk about Declan Rice. He divides opinion hugely among Chelsea fans at the moment, but I'm going to explain reason why Chelsea actually need Declan Rice, or someone who has the same profile or similar profile in the Chelsea squad. It is something that a lot of people do not understand nowadays. We always think that playing defensive midfield is all about passing the ball, breaking the lines, and all that. First and foremost, why is it called defensive midfield? You have to be defensive. You have to think about protecting the back four. That's one of the major reasons why you have somebody sitting in front of the back four, not just about passing balls, breaking lines, throwing three-quarter balls, and all that, diagonal balls. So I think that if you can have somebody who has all of that, who can sit deep, protect the back four, then throw those quarter balls like a pillow, then fine, that's perfect. But in today's football, they are very rare. They are very rare. It is rare to find somebody who has it all. So at Chelsea right now, you look at Jorginho, you look at Kovacic, and look at Kante. They are all defensive midfielders in a way. Maybe Kovacic is central midfielder, but he can play defensive midfield. But three of them are actually different from Declan Rice. Now you will think that Kante is similar to Declan Rice. No, they're actually very different. Kante is better as a boss-to-boss and a roving boss-to-boss, not just a boss-to-boss managing one particular zone of the pitch. Kante is the kind of boss-to-boss that you unleash. Allow him to chase after the ball, allow him to recover the balls wherever they are. He has the engine, so you have to make maximum use of that. So most managers who like playing positional play will never get the best out of Kante. Reason is because Kante is not that kind of positional player, a player you can pin in a zone and tell him to control this zone. He really is not that kind of player. He's the kind of player that likes going after the balls. If he says the ball is here and the player being there needs help, he will always go there, even if you tell him not to. So he's selfless in the way he plays. So going back to Declan Rice, I actually think that if you look at Chelsea's squad, the midfield is very unbalanced. I've said that before, said that multiple times on Twitter, even last season. The midfield is very unbalanced. It's when you have an issue on the pitch, players getting overrun on the counter, then you will know the importance of having a sitting defensive midfielder. Now I'm talking about a sitting defensive midfielder. Let me put it this way. In English Premier League, you have two traditional sitting defensive midfielders. One is Declan Rice, two is Wilfred Ndidi. I mean elite ones, elite level sitting defensive midfielders. Then another player that I think that is very good in this aspect and also can play is Fabinho, who plays for Liverpool. Now let me give you an example. Last season, when Liverpool had a centre-back crisis, they pushed Fabinho down to centre-back, and they started struggling. You know, they started conceding shots, started conceding, chances a lot because there was no protection. That's the essence of having somebody in there that can win the balls, recover the balls, cut out those passing lanes. At Chelsea, we do not have that. And there is a reason why Thomas Tuchel decided on the plane heading to Chelsea for the first time in his life as Chelsea manager, decided to yank off four-man defense and play three at the back and then two wing backs. Don't tell me that three at the back is his favorite formation, no. But he realized immediately after watching Chelsea clips that this team doesn't have a player who can play there, protect the back four, and then make four at the back very effective. Because if you don't have that player, that auxiliary central defender, then you're going to have an issue. If you remember last season, I dropped a line on Twitter and everybody got like, wow. Everybody was like, I mean, that's not possible. What did I say? I said that that was when Frank Lampard was still Chelsea manager. I said that this team cannot continue to play forward at the back with Jorginho and Kovacic, because as much as it's very good when you're dominating the play, once you're on the counter, once you're defending counter attack, you are in trouble because they get overrun very easily and they get drawn out of their normal positions. And you can't allow that. When you allow that, no matter the quality of your center backs or your defenders, once they are exposed, the space in the field is too big for them to cover their front, to cover their back, cover their angles. It's very difficult. Because of that, they need those defensive midfielders to be in their positions when they are defending. It's very important. So for us, we didn't have that. I said that time on Twitter, why not play Christensen as a defensive midfielder or even Kurt Zouma? Now, many people agreed on Christensen. A lot of people disagreed on Kurt Zouma. Now, what the point I was trying to make then was, what we needed at that point was a defensive midfielder acting as an auxiliary center back, but not influencing the play. Because it's not a must that a defensive midfielder will influence the play. It's not a must. There are so many ways to build your attack. You mustn't go through your defensive midfielder. In today's game, a lot of people believe in the register thing, and I mean, it's the end thing today in world of football because it makes your team tick. They control possession, control the passing and everything, build up your play. That doesn't mean that's the only way you can progress the ball in football. So to me, I said that, and I also said in that same tweet that we must not go through Kurt Zouma or Christensen to progress the ball. We can go from the fullbacks or drop a central midfielder to progress the ball. It works. If you look at Leicester City, for example, Ndidi is not a ball progressor. He's not. He's not a good passer of the ball. He's just an average passer of the ball. He's not a wonderful passer of the ball. Let me put it that way. Most times, Leicester try to bypass him when progressing the ball. Either they use the fullbacks or they drop Tielemans deep to progress the ball. And once the ball progresses, Tielemans will now return to his normal position, and then Ndidi will do his job. Football is all about players helping each other, cover the weaknesses of their teammates, and then the manager using all the characteristics of the players he has on the pitch. So that's what football is all about. It's not about, I must do this, I must do that. No. You have to use what you have to find a way to play. Just like Antonio Conte always say, a manager is a tailor. You have to sew your clothes to fit your team. So it's like that. For Leicester City, they have to use someone else to progress the ball and then let Ndidi do his job, and it's working. So you cannot tell me that it's not possible that Leicester must go and buy a register or somebody who is good on the ball, somebody who can do this and do that, and Leicester still play good football. So it works. Now, coming back to Chelsea, now I feel that Chelsea have missed that kind of player since Matic left. So let me give you an example. During last season, English Premier League under Thomas Tuchel, Chelsea were leading West Brom 1-0, and then lost Thiago Silva to a red card, and then played the rest of the match with 10 men. Now, what actually happened in that match? Chelsea were leading and were comfortably controlling the game, and then after losing Thiago Silva, had to revert to 4-4-1 formation. Because that we do not have a proper defensive midfielder who can control space, we had issues, especially on the counter. Now, 4-4-1, when you are leading 1-0 with a proper defensive midfielder, you can still be stable. Maybe you can say that you won't be as aggressive going forward as you can, but you will still be stable. And against West Brom, not the best team in the world, we should be stable. Unfortunately, we didn't have a defensive midfielder that has the characteristics of a sitting defensive midfielder. And that was the issue. We get overrun, we lost spaces, especially from the wings. Now, one of the jobs of a proper defensive midfielder is to sense danger both in the spaces between the center backs and then spaces vacated by the fullbacks. If you do not have that person who has that sense of occupying the right space defensively, then you're going to have issues. That's my take on that, and I've been saying that, so I decided to take time to explain this in detail, pour out everything I think about that. You may disagree. If you think otherwise, whatever you think, just drop your comments in the comment section and I will reply, then we can talk it out from there. Alright, if you enjoyed this show, what you need to do is hit the like button, the notification button, and then subscribe if you haven't. See you next time.